After naming every changes in every version, and after picking the worst and best edition in every version, Aspie is back to complete this "How did this even become a series, Lamau?" by making a tier list of the Minecraft versions. Okay, so I'm going to assume that you're approximately acquainted with the different Minecraft versions. If not, I'm going to politely ask you to watch this video first. Can we start? Good. So the rankings are as follows: boring, underwhelming, it's alright, good, and finally, mamma mia, it's muy perfecto. Well, that's a record. Not even a minute in, and I already pissed off a community. You probably noticed that there is no bad tier, and that's simply because I don't think there is any bad updates, and that the lowest we ever got was a boring update. With that being said, I'll judge each version independently, no matter the context. So if you think that the first few versions deserve some treatment because of the size of the Ambient team or time in between updates, think again. The only exception to this will be the 1.17 and 1.18 update. Both of them will be judged as one unique update because it was split into two due to time restraint. With that being said, let's get cooking. 1.0 is a certified perfecto. I mean, we got a new dimension with a new boss, a new structure, brewery, a new biome, and so many quality of life improvement like breeding, which is oh my god, it's Squidward? In fact, we got so many things that you will think that they were preparing to release an entire game or something. Alright, perfect here, don't add me. This update is very simple. Maybe a bit too simple. We got like a couple biome variants and a blacksmith chest, spawn eggs. Ah! Boom! But hold your horses! Because we got something that just saves this update entirely. This alone makes it so much better than everything we ever got in this game. When sheeps eat grass, they will f***ing regrow! Wow! Incredible, just boring. I always found this update to be pretty deceptive. On the surface, it looks like it just added the jungle, and the rest was pretty superfluous. But in reality, you get a bit more than that. Golems, bottles of enchanting, ocelots, mineshafts. You might say that none of them are game-changing, and you're right, but there's enough here to feel satisfied. And my book is all you really need to pass as an update. I guess what I'm trying to say here is that it's alright. Sometimes to be a good update, you don't need to add much, but to improve on things, and 1.3 is proof of that. Like sure, deserts and jungle temples are neat. I'm trying to record, you piece of shit. Emeralds and trading? Yeah, I rock with that. Stairs? I mean, they should have been here in the first place, let's be honest. But none of this are what's making 1.3 very good. No. The star of this update are the quality of light changes. There's just so many changes that we take for granted today. The option to place blocks on different sides. Yup, wasn't here before. Are you someone that only plays in creative? Guess what? The creative UI is organized like this because of this update. Want to play with your friend locally? Sure, have an open to LAN option. What's that? Enchanting is way too expensive? Fine! I'll reduce the amount of XP from 50 to 30. Like, I seriously cannot see this update go anywhere below good tier. But at the same time, I don't see it going too perfect here. So, good. If you know a bit about this update, then you can probably already tell where this is going. If not, let me refresh your memory a little bit. With a boss, beacon, new mobs, new crops, night vision, invisibility, and command blocks. With that being said, this update deserves its perfect tier, and you will have to have never right arguments to justify it being anywhere below that. The beacon was and still is the only way to get haste. And we all know why haste is so important. And command blocks, my god! The things you can do with it. And especially at the time, it really helps servers and map makers push that project. If you don't do anything with it, it's fine. Just don't be selfish, you perfect here. Perfect here. This update? Okay, fine, I'll explain. So, you know how you guys have Minecraft worlds? I mean, you guys do have Minecraft worlds, right? Like, I assume that if you're watching this, is because you're someone interested in the game and stuff, and I'm not talking to myself just to fill the void of a boring, empty life that will only lead you to the inevitable. Cause well, how many of you have built farms? Of any type, that is. Chances are that a lot of you have done that. And well, now just think to yourself that if it wasn't for the big add-ons to Redstone that the 1.5 update provided, then there will be a great chance that 90% of the farms you made will just not work. Comparators, redstone blocks, and hoppers, just to name a few, are all components that are added in 1.5 and that you use. But if you're not into redstone, there's always coarse block to justify that placement. Perfect here. This update may have brought the saving grace of my last video, it doesn't make it any less underwhelming. And I just killed the suspense. But why is that though? Well, you see, when you look at this update on a small scale, you may be tempted to put in the alright tier, maybe even good tier for the crazy people in the back. After all, a new mob that used to be the fastest way of transportation, name tags, terracotta, and even absorptions, all good stuff on paper, but then you start looking at the bigger picture and then you realize that horses are severely limited by terrain generation, making them very unpleasant to ride, horse armor is very useful, absorption is only good in PvP or in hard custom maps, hay bales and blocks of coal? Okay. I'm glad they're there, but it's not a game changer. I was honestly tempted to put this in boring tier, the only thing saving this update being the terracotta and name tags. One is a cool building block, the other is important in some farms. Not much to it. This update happened during a time where Minecraft was starting to take off massively, and for an update that didn't add a lot of things, it really managed to have an impact by changing one of Minecraft's biggest problem: the world generation. You see, ever since beta 1.8, the world of Minecraft was just flat, boring, nothing interesting. Oh, it's another ocean that we need to cross for 30 minutes? Great. Introducing 1.7, the update that changed the world. Now with so many new biomes like the Savannah or the Roof Forest biome, all with their fair share of wood variant, guaranteed with 70% less water. It's a revolution! By the way, I'm not kidding. Old generation really did have huge oceans for no reason. And like this wasn't enough, they also refined combat a bit and finally gave us a dedicated sprint key, instead of having to slam your key to just sprint like an idiot. I know some of you are probably lifting an eyebrow because of this, because
who the hell cares?
But that's when Minecraft servers started to take off with a rise of popularity in PvP focused minigames, and well, at the time, I was a big fan of PvP. Sure, it's broken and messy, but it was fun, and that's what I used to spend most of my time playing this game, so it does hold a special place in my heart, even if the entire thing is as healthy as Biden's memory. Perfect here. If 1.7 was the period where Minecraft started to take off, 1.8 was the period that cemented Minecraft as a powerhouse. And the update itself did not disappoint either. A new structure in the ocean with its fair share of blocks and mobs, cosmetic stuff with banners, other non-ocean monument related mobs like rabbit and endermite, variety blocks, spectator game mode, and what I feel are the two most important things in this update, enchanting and slime blocks. Sure, 1.3 did make enchanting a lot less tedious, but that shit was still a grind just to get that bricky free. Do you see yourself having to grind 30 levels every time you wanted to do a tier 3 enchant? Well, prior to 1.8, you had to do just that, and all of that without having the benefit of being able to see one of the enchantments you were about to get. It's like when you work a 9 to 5 minimum wage job for a month, just to buy a new fridge, just for that fridge to have a chance to malfunction. Thankfully now, it doesn't cost nowhere near as much. I also gave a purpose to Lapis. Not only that, they added Death Strider, which is a top 5 enchantment. As for slime blocks, well, I'm maybe not using it that much myself, but the redstone brains of the community found a lot of very good usage for it, so it has to be mentioned. Perfect here, and it's not even close. This update. This godforsaken update. It will never sit right with me. Do I think it's bad? Well, yes. No. It's complicated. On one hand, it did so much good stuff. It changed the end for the better, adding a new subdimension, new structures and items, like the Elytra for example, which are the most overpowered method of transportation to this day. So much so that people just rush the end to get it. Whether you think this is a good or bad thing, it's up to you. It added dual wielding, it actually made bows functional for once, and we can't forget about mending, which is the best enchantment. Again, whether you think this is a good or bad thing, it's up to you. And then
controversial Minecraft update to this day is update 1.9.
literally half, and I'm not exaggerating, half of the multiplayer Java community doesn't play on the newer versions of combat.
Okay, so we need to limit the people clicking like 12,000 times per second. And then what they did was they made it so the max click rate per second is pretty much 1. Why?
This new combat system was just a nonsensical disaster, mixing in actually desirable and highly requested new mechanics with ones that seem unnecessary, illogical, and poorly fleshed out.
They just dropped a nuclear bomb on the combat system for no reason. Let me remind you all that this update was named the Combat Update. The Combat Update. They somehow managed to make everything combat related worse and unfun, creating the biggest split the community has ever seen, with effects still present to this day. Like, how do you even do that? I could go on, but I don't want to repeat myself. If you want to know why I think this update was such a big problem, go watch this video. With that being said, where do I place this update? It's too problematic to be anywhere near these tiers, and it's hardly a boring or underwhelming update, so I don't think I have a choice there, but to create a special tier just for this update alone. Just... why? You are now fully in the dark age of Minecraft. Imagine, your game is balling, but your last update did split the community pretty heavily, and everyone is waiting for the next update to fix this mess, or at the very least talk about it. And then the update arrives, and you did nothing. You didn't backpedal on complaints, and instead of trying to ease in the community into that update, you just added the literal emptiness. You wanna know what this update added? Yup. That's literally it. Nothing here is interesting, and what was supposed to be the big addition of this update turns out to be so rare you can hardly ever find it. And even when you do find it, you get nothing! Legitimate question to anyone watching this video. Have you ever came across a fossil that wasn't in the Nether? I'm genuinely curious to hear you guys' answer on this, because personally I never came across one. On a normal survival playthrough, that is. Needless to say, that update is a big, fat, boring tier. I'm going to be honest, initially I thought I was going to put this update in boring tier as well, but after giving it a second look, I realized that the update actually introduced very important stuff that are consistently used in everyone's playthrough. Quick recap first, because it's a small update. Wooden Mansion, Illagers, Iron Nuggets, Shulker Boxes, Totems of Undying, Llamas, and Observers. You got all that? Good. I'm going to get this out of the way first. Yes, I do not think that wooden mansions are that important. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for new structures and stuff, but in the case of wooden mansions, you don't really have a reason to explore it really. I do it because I find them fun, but I would not be actively looking for one. No. What really gives this update some worth is 3 items in particular. The items being the totems, the observers, and the shulker boxes. I'll admit, I don't like using totems too much. I feel like defeating death through the use of an item is very lame, and as a matter of fact that's why you don't see me use them in my hardcore worlds. And yes, I know, I used them at one point in my skyblock world, but I spent so much time on building that stuff I didn't want it to go to waste, and besides I did not even intend to start this raid. Anyway, for other people, it's really helpful and that helps them to make content in hardcore without risking the entire series, so that's cool. But observers and shulker boxes, they are so important. Observers are used in a lot of redstone machine with none of the headache of having to set up a bug to achieve the same result. And shulker boxes? They are literal backpacks. The more time we spend in this game, the more stuff is getting added, and the easier it is to fill out your inventory with useless stuff like tough, for example. You useless piece of shit. So having things like shulker boxes helps you carry a lot more stuff without having to backtrack for 20 minutes. With that being said, a lot of people, me included, have put that update in the dark age as well. And while it's not exactly a breathtaking update, it's definitely one that has great impact on the game. I'm sorry about point 11, I judge you too harshly. Good tier. This is the final update and the Dark Age timeline, and unlike 1.11, I still think that it's deserving of that spot. The theme with this update was colors. I mean, the update was literally named the World of Color. And with an idea like this, your options of additions gets pretty limited. But man, there was no effort in trying to make it a bit exciting. Like, we got parrots. I'm sorry, but more vibrant color palettes and color blocks is not enough for me to put this update anywhere high. And unlike 1.6, it doesn't even have much besides the concrete blocks, I guess. Like, concrete is cool, right? But I feel like at that point, they should have just named it 1.12, the concrete block edition. Boring tier. Never mind, you can kill parrots by feeding them cookies. 10 out of 10 update, perfect tier. I have a question for you. Do you like oceans in Minecraft? Being slow, not being able to see anything, with the only point of interest being a monument that is only worth to visit just for the block it's made of. No? Then my friend, I present to you the aquatic update, giving new life to this once barren wasteland called the ocean. Do you like weed? Of course you do! Well my friends, you can find so much of it in the water, you can even give it to your turtle pets! They will love it! What about bubbles? That's right, now with bubble clumps you can achieve your goal of being high! You can extract blocks for all the clumps! I swear I was talking about the aquatic update. Anyway, my point is that not only did this update add a lot of good stuff, it also massively improved a weak side of Minecraft's terrain generation. One could even say that it was about time, because apart from the ocean monument, no other update brought any improvements to the oceans. It was a much needed change with every qualities you can think of to put it to perfect tier. The only complaint I have with it is that ever since this update, Minecraft performance has been hit massively with a hammer. And what used to be a game that you can run on very bad setups is now a game that asks you to invest in your setup a little bit to run. But if that's the only problem, then I'm willing to still put it into perfect tier. Oh, you mother... Good tier. This update and a couple others following this one started a massive trend of taking weak or mediocre sides of Minecraft and improving massively on it. Last update was the oceans. And now, it was time for villages. And well, ladies and gentlemen, this update did not disappoint. From the looks of villages to how villagers interact and trade, everything got a change, and all for the better. Villages are prettier and have better loot, villagers now have more profession and is dictated with a job block. And would you look at that? Now most trades are actually worth it? And if that was the only thing added this update, it would be a good tier. But no my friend, they had to give us more. Hey kids, do you like new mobs? Here you go. Oh wow, thank you, that's a lot. How about legit ways to get these blocks? Nice, we can stop using command. You know what? Take this, a tower defense like minigames where you can get rewarded with valuable stuff. And we just stand there like, we didn't have to do all of this. There was a little bit of controversy with the changes of the base texture, but that was mainly because people were so used to the original textures. Me personally, I think the new textures are better, but even if you didn't like them, they give you a resource pack with all the old textures. It's not perfect, but most companies don't even bother making something like this. You probably figured this out already, but this update is an easy perfecto. And I don't think many people would disagree with this. This update is a special one. Huh? I don't know the full context around the bee theme, but what I do know is that content wasn't the plan for this update, fixing bugs was.
Pesky bee?
Which I found it to be a bit weird because I very rarely came across bugs in this game, even before that update. Wish Bedrock players could say the same. Might have to test this version one day. With that being said, what did 1.15 offer? Bees and honey and bees and honey and bees. Yeah, nothing really interesting. But unlike some other updates, I'm cutting it some slack because it was made rather clear that it was a health update instead of a content one. And besides, they also added honey blocks, which is a very important redstone component as well. So I'm not going to place this update in boring tier, but I will place it in underwhelming. Do I even need to say anything? Well, actually I kinda do. The Nether update is a favorite, if not the favorite update in the community. The Nether was always found to be a cool concept, but a bit too bare bones. After all, it's supposed to represent hell itself, and yet it felt like you could do more with it. And well, this update did just that, and it did it in the best ways possible. New mobs? Check. New biomes and blocks? Check. New structures? Check. It could have just stopped there and it would have already been a good update, but it also has some extras by adding what's now the new best material in Minecraft, Netherite. It looks good, it fits the theme well, while giving the Nether another purpose to explore rather than just going there to go to the end and kill the Wither. And we can't just forget about Footstep. Which is hands down the best music disc in Minecraft. Hey, Editor Aspie here. So, when I was writing this script, the 1.21 update didn't come out, so yeah, scratch that last bit. You'll see why. I could go on and ramble forever on why this update was so good, but you already know why, I already know why, I don't think I need to continue. Perfect tier. Caves and cliffs. This update followed 1.16 right in its footsteps by improving something well beyond our expectations. Caves in Minecraft were always found to be a bit boring. You will go there, get your materials without much difficulty, and then you will go out of it without needing to set foot in it again. As a matter of fact, changing the way cave looked was a pretty demanded request. They could have just made caves a bit bigger and most of the community would have been pleased. But nope, why do that? The impact it had on caving was huge, not only making it more interesting, but also more rewarding and more dangerous. And for those who don't understand why it's a positive thing to be more dangerous, well, it's because it allows alpha males such as myself to assert its dominance over these cock betas. Jokes aside, the reason that's a good thing is because you're literally going inside the earth lurking for minerals. The entire process should make you feel like you're endangered. It just makes it that much more rewarding when you get enough diamonds for your full set. And with old caves, it was just not the case. This update is also the second time where terrain generation massively changed since the full release of the game. With the height limit being able to go to the negatives, this really helped the developer to make some new mountains or shift the terrain in interesting ways. And a simple comparison is all you need to understand what I mean. I could start talking about the other stuff, like the mobs, but at this point the changes already mentioned are enough to warrant this place in perfect tier. Perfect tier. 1.19, the update where I finally came back to this game, unlike your dad after he said he was going to grab the milk. Question: if you were to add a biome for 1.19, what would it have been? The cherry grove? At the time it was probably the more likely contender, but what did Mojang think? Well, for Mojang, they thought that Swamp 2 was better. Like what? Okay, to be fair, the mangrove biome is pretty well made, but it has the same problem as the jungle biome. The problem being, it's so crowded you can barely move in it, yet build. So while it's a cool biome to see and to collect mangrove wood from, which by the way, it's a pretty cool looking type of wood, it would have just been underwhelming. But a couple things bring this update way up. First of all, frogs. More specifically, frogalites. These light blocks are insane, and the fact that you can get multiple variants of these just makes it better. Granted, they are very tedious to obtain, often asking you to do some insane maneuver to get these magma cubes to be eaten by frogs, but the results are worth it. In my very humble and objective opinion. Second addition that helps this update, ancient cities. I think I speak for everyone when I say that this is the coolest dungeon ever added to Minecraft. Welp, that aged like milk. The atmosphere is great. The look is great. The boss is on steroids and will destroy you. That's great. And the loot inside is worth. They may be pretty rare, but it doesn't make them any less interesting. Good tier. I don't know who on Mojang decided to make every 10th update the most underwhelming shit ever, but let me tell you, they did a really good job at it. Ah, shit. Okay, but why do I think that is? Well, let's take a quick look at everything I did. Cherry Grove? Honestly, a great biome. I have no complaints here. Archaeology? Boring! I don't know who thought it was possible to make archaeology interesting, but that guy must have been on a serious amount of drugs. What does it add? Just these weird looking structures that contain suspicious gravel or sand that you can brush away with an item. It takes fucking ages and the loot is never worth. Even when you get the spawn eggs for the new mob, which, may I add, can only be found in warm ocean ruins, it's underwhelming. The mob doesn't do much. It's ugly, its only purpose is to get special flowers. Sorry, I said special flowers? I meant useless, because they don't even do anything, it's purely decorative. So, like, why go through all the troubles? Never mind. What else did we get? Armor trims? Okay, I can roll with that. It gives us more reason to explore, and surely will not bring any side effects of a terrible idea. You know, I'm an advocate of letting overpowered things in a game, as long as it's not game breaking. With that being said, in what way was Netherite too easy to obtain? That's a genuine question. Like, I get it, it wasn't very dangerous to collect, but the thing is already rare and it's submerged in kilometers after kilometers of netherrack that you need to dig up or blow to get. Is that resource demanding or time consuming already? Why did you have to force players to go through and collect special trins that can only be found in bastions and are not even that common? Just why? Well, I think that's about all the important things that this update brought, and it's surely not camels that are going to bring this update up. Hey! So I thought that the armadillo and wolf armor were added in 1.21, but they were actually added in 1.20.5. But even if I took them into account, nothing will have changed. Like dog armor? Meh! The AI for the dogs are so bad they always end up walking into lava or falling from a cliff. And as for armadillos, who keeps adding these weird mobs?
For your precious vote!
Oh. I had to create a world just to try one of these for the video, and I'm honestly baffled. How did an update that took a month to make just collapse the update that took a year? I honestly didn't even care about the update until I went ahead and tried it. The trial chambers are interesting to explore. They have their fair share of unique blocks, they have their fair share of unique mobs, special status effects, loots, secrets, and get this? They actually made something challenging in Minecraft? Whoa! Never thought I would see the day that will happen. And even if you waited to get much better gear than what the trial chambers could ever give you, you still get rewarded because they have exclusive items, like these clouds that create a burst of wind, or this new weapon. A sword is probably still the best weapon you can have, but I don't care, it's fun. Or the banger I'm currently playing in the background. It's so much better than Pickstep, and it's not even close. Point being, there's always a good reason to do these trials, even if you're already maxed out in gear. And what's crazy is that there's something else that just makes this update better, and it's not even related to the trial chambers at all. It's not a redstone item. Unlike something like, say, honey blocks, it's an item that you will always find useful because it's applicable in every machine, or almost every machine. The item being the crafter. Finally, we have an actual way to automate crafting, which is one of the very few things in Minecraft that couldn't be automated until now. I'm honestly very surprised with this update because nothing feels like it's filler. I seriously have no complaints about it. I did see some people say that it goes against Minecraft's simplistic style and that it feels modded, and I just have one thing to say. Have you looked at the previous updates? I used to be one of those people, but forced to realize that Minecraft philosophy changed a lot ever since they started doing big updates, and that if you give it a chance, you get something different but equally as pleasant. And besides, if you really don't like it, you can always go and play older versions. It's one of the very rare games to give you that option. So no, I don't think that this feels modded is a valid criticism anymore. Perfect here. And here's the final list. We have 10 perfect updates, 4 good updates, 1 alright update, 3 underwhelming updates, and 3 boring one. And one that is just there. I did not order them, so I'm doing it now. I won't explain the difference in placements because I don't want to drag this video out longer. Just know that the differences are small within the same tier. But what do you think about this tier list? Do you agree or disagree with my placements? Tell me your opinions down in the comment. I would love to read it. If you like this video, sub, like, share, donate all your money to me, and on that note, have a good day. Peace!